If you're on T-Mobile and you're looking for a dual-core 4G smartphone, chances are these are not new to you. These might be two phones that you are considering. The HTC Sensation and the LG G2x. Well, I got both, so I don't have to choose. Why don't you go and suck on that? First things first, let's talk about which one of these devices is more aesthetically pleasing. Now, this is going to vary from person to person. I saw a lot of people talking about the Sensation is a better looking device. I do think that the front looks very attractive. I like the little grill and notification light and the large 4.3 inch screen. But this whole tricolor back thing, really not for me. Maybe if this still had the stripe, but it was just black and gray or black and whatever this color is. I like the look of the G2X a little more. I like the piano black finish on the front. I like the simplicity of the back. Got that little stripe. It looks classy. One thing that kills me about the G2X is how much bezel there is. Like, you look at both devices, the G2X is about almost the same footprint as the Sensation, even though the Sensation has a much larger screen. That reason is because look at how big this freaking bezel is. Yes, that's Zelda, okay? Look how big the bezel is compared to the Sensation. That is a huge freaking bezel. Now, as far as software goes, that's where it gets kind of tricky. I like the basic vanilla Android look. I like the solid black notification bar. I like the scrolling on here. It's a lot better than the Sense version. See, because this scrolls up like a whole page, right? And I prefer to do it like this because you can do it faster. Like if I'm at AdSense and I want to scroll all the way down to YouTube, this is what I do. Just get a few good scrolls. Doing it terribly, I do it better when it's in my hand. That's what she said. Then I can just click YouTube. There we go. If I want to do it on Sense, I accidentally clicked that. I gotta scroll like that, one by one. Not a huge fan of that. Plus, where the application button is off to the side. I'm used to it being right here in the middle. So vanilla Android is going to win when it comes to just this part. The web experience on both devices is solid, but I prefer the Sensation because not only is it smoother, like it's a little more jagged on here. It's not a big deal, you know, like people always talk about the pinch to zoom. It's a little smoother on the Sensation. Plus, it automatically rewraps text. That's the big thing. So like you're reading something, you don't have to go side to side. It's just right there. Like as far as the G2X, you're reading something, you have to go scroll, scroll, which is not very mixy. Something else, the cut, copy, and paste on both devices. This is the cut and copy and paste on the G2X. You get these little things right here. You can pick whatever you want to copy and blam. Pretty simple. And this is what it looks like on the Sensation. You get these things, yeah, but you get like a little magnifying glass to go with it. So you get to see what's under your finger. And it's a lot more simple this way. So that's exactly what I want. And you look it up, copy it, or share it. Another big difference between the two phones is native music players. This is the G2X's native music player. It just has like a picture and the ability to scroll through, and it's not too fancy, but it's a music player, so it's not a huge deal to me. Now the music player on my Sensation looks a lot better. It has the bigger artwork, and if you're missing artwork, it'll download some of it, but not all of it, because I'm still missing a few CDs, artworks. Let's see, like the Temptations. Now, something I love about the Sense music player is when you're playing a song, you turn it off, then you want to change the song, you can change it from the lock screen. And you see the artwork, you can pause it, you can flip it, you can go back to the song you were just listening to. Another thing that Sense brings to the Sensation that is not natively on my G2X is a task manager. Something else of note, the Sensation comes with an even later and greater version of Android. It comes with 2.3.4. Now that lets me use video chat with Google Talk. As you can see, I'm using it right now. I'm using it from my I'm hearing my echo. That's fucking me up. But the bigger thing that the little update tells me is that HTC is more committed to rolling out the most current version of Android. So it makes me feel like my phone is future-proof to the newer, greater versions of Android. One more thing, and this is kind of huge to me now, now that I've had the Sensation for a good amount of time, the ability to customize your lock screen. Like, you can put whatever you want here. You could put your friend stream, you could put the weather like I have now, you can put like your photo album, whatever right here, which not that big to me, but the big thing is the ability to put 4 apps right here. The 4 ones that you want quick access to. Like if I'm out and about, something crazy is going on, I need my video camera, blam, pull that in there, video camera pops right up. And of course it's black because it's looking at my desk. Whatever you want, you have quick access to. Or you could just pull this part up and then that just unlocks the phone. With the G2X, it's just vanilla Android and I like the look of it. But it's not as functional as the HTC Sensation. That being said, you do have the ability to turn your notification sound off and unlock it. As far as battery goes, I've been able to squeeze out more than enough to get through the day. Only time I really have any trouble is when I use stuff like Google Maps, and I have backup batteries for that. Something that is important to a lot of you guys out there is the built-in camcorders and cameras. Now, the G2X, the Froyo build, had a really nice camera. I love the software on it. But since the Gingerbread update, they stripped it down and it's basically the stock Gingerbread camera. You don't have as many features. You can't take 1080 video anymore. It maxes out at 720. It doesn't even look as good as the Froyo build. It used to have the touch to focus, and now it doesn't do that anymore. As for the Sensation, it still has touch to focus. It has a very nice camera. I really like the software that comes with the camera. You have all these modes. You have you can take it with no effect. You can grayscale it, add sepia, make it a negative. But you should always think positively, people. Keep a positive attitude even when you're taking negative pictures. You have all these options, and it has full 1080. This is a video sample using my HTC Sensation. And this is a video sample for my LG G2x. Something that might make or break your purchase of a phone is the onboard memory of that phone. The G2X has more onboard memory. You have about 5 gigs of onboard storage as opposed to the Sensation, where you have about 1 gig available to you. Now, a question I know that goes through a lot of people's head before making a purchase like this, because chances are you're going to be with this phone for 2 years. And you want to know, what's the porn experience like? You want to know that. You're going to hell for asking that question. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to tell you anyway. Not that I know personally. I don't watch porn. I'm going to give you what sinners have told me. Now, they have told me that porn really pops on the 4.3-inch QHD display. They told me that you can not only stream porn on here, but you can download it natively. Now, one of those sinners was telling me that they were watching Dr. Snatchbottom on here, and it was so clear and crisp, you can almost taste the areolas and the feces in there. When you're watching video on this device, let's say you're watching some pornography, getting ready to go to hell, there's about to be a squirt scene, and you're like, wow, this is too small. You cannot zoom in if you have your screen orientation locked. Because for it to go full screen, you have to turn it this way without the screen lock on. And if you go like this, it'll go back to this screen. So if you like to watch your porn while laying down, relaxing, you know, have some candles and soft music playing in the background, you cannot do that. And if you try to blow it up, it's going to stay like this. So you're missing a lot of the porn. Now, the native video player on the G2X does not have that problem. As you can see, my screen orientation is locked and it is still in landscape mode, so I can watch it and it takes up the entire screen. No wasted real estate here. So another advantage that the Sensation has is it comes with a crap load of widgets. Now, there are a lot of widgets that you can download from the Android marketplace that look like widgets that are in Sense. Like I can download Fancy Home and have a home replacement that looks almost just like the one on the on Sense. But Sense comes with all of these. They're all native to it. They're free, of course, and some of them are very helpful. And some of them just look really, really cool. And another thing, while I'm at it, this comes with the FM radio, and the G2X does not. Which I haven't used the FM radio. I mean, I use a lot more streaming services than, you know, actual just FM radio. But cool to have if that's what you're into. If I want that big clock, I can get that. It comes with the device. But my home screen is already filled up. See, I have a lot of widgets. I'm a widget whore. Complete widget whore. Fun fact, Widget was also a purple shape-shifting planet saver. So, for those of you who didn't watch the show, now you know what Widget was. Another thing that might be important to some of you is the native keyboards. Now, if I had to pick my favorite, I would have to go with the Sensation. This is the native keyboard on the Sensation, and it's good to like punch in letters and whatever, but it also comes with swipe-like tracing. So you can just go, what? Now, this comes with two keyboards, Gingerbread and Swipe, actual Swipe. But my experience with this particular Swipe is it is not as good as the one that was on my Vibrant. It's not. It doesn't recognize as well as the other one, so I can type party. Well, I mean, it popped up that time. But another thing that bothers me is the lack of feedback. Like when I type on this, it gives me like that haptic feedback, and it feels, I can feel it. This gives me like a little haptic feedback, but it's not as powerful as the one that's on the Sensation, which I know sounds silly, but when you're using it a good amount of time to input data, you notice it, and it's better on the Sensation. But that's my personal preference. So the device I choose for myself, if you haven't been able to tell from the review so far, is the Sensation. I love the G2X, but I love the Sensation. And this is coming from someone who hasn't been a huge fan of HTC phones. Didn't really care for the Evo or the Thunderbolt. And I was very reluctant to try this phone. I thought it would have crap battery like those phones I just mentioned, and it was actually quite the opposite. The battery was even a little bit better than the G2X, even though the screen is bigger. The addition of the bigger screen, better battery, and all those little extras that come with Sense, and keep in mind, I don't like Sense either until I tried this phone. Some of the stuff may not look as good as standard Android, but it is very useful to have. So I prefer the HTC Sensation.